Hello everyone, this is Leeway Model for a one-year update on my Solis 59P, converted from a Ram ProMaster 2500 by the Winnebago factory in Forest City, Illinois. Last year I made an initial video around November um, with basically a general overview of the unit. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do, because I'm not going to go in details as the general functions of the unit, but more on how things have held up and an update on the things that were broken and how they were fixed or not fixed and by who they were fixed. Well, it turns out that my general experience with the dealer service department wasn't that great. So after some back and forward, I contacted the manufacturer, and this unit has actually gone back to Iowa where it was built to well, get service on it by a very knowledgeable tech, which, um, well, you'll see. So on this side, nothing has changed much. I'm still having those tires. So the Nokian Tire Outpost NAT, they are all-season, all-weather tires, off-road tires also, if you see. I would say that they are a bit noisier than the regular tires that the unit came with. However, their performance in snow and their performance on dry was satisfactory beside the road noise. It does make for a bit of a harsher drive, but that's a bit of a trade-off for you having true off-road tires on one of such rigs. And since this unit is forward-wheel drive only, I thought that this was a nice addition, and it has proven to be in a couple of situations um, where some of my other colleagues with a ProMaster camper van struggled a bit. Now, if we go down to this side here, we do have a nice running board that I mentioned last time. In fact, I like this running board so much that I did a bit of digging and found out that on the Travado, which is another camper van built by Winnebago, well, they have actually had one on both sides, which is not present on the Solis. So what I did do while I was at the factory, I asked them to install one. Now, this wasn't necessarily cheap, but I gotta say it makes a whole difference, especially in my case, because as a veteran, I was injured during service, and one of my knee is bad. But just to climb in and out of this rig with that little step there makes a whole lot of difference, and it actually makes me enjoy my unit more. So one of the issues I had since the unit was brand new is that this would always catch, and it was a bit of a hurdle. Each time I tried to open this, it was like I had to play with this. So the factory actually repaired something in there. The only thing that they had to do really was to tighten all of those screws, and they've sort of oiled it back. And since then it works pretty good. Now these doors. I mean, it's not necessarily a Winnebago design. It's designed by Thetford, and I gotta say that they are a bit of a you can't operate it with one hand, so you really have to use both your hands at the same time to open it. Now you can lock this. I gotta say that perhaps I should, but if somebody steals my cassette right there, which for people who don't know is basically your black tank, if somebody wants to steal my poop, well, it's their business. And I mean, yeah, not sure that I would like that to happen, so perhaps I should have more diligence in locking this thing up. Beside this, on this side here in the back, I did a modification on the overall chassis. I'm gonna try just to crawl a bit underneath here, right here. If you take a look, I had some sumo springs installed. Now the sumo springs, if you look a bit around what people do with them, they are very, very popular. Uh, there's a very high amount of people who have actually made that modification. It just helps with the ride overall. And the thing with them is that um, they have different colors. A lot of people will recommend for the 2500 chassis to go with either the blue or the black ones. I went with the yellow one because this is what Winnebago did on their special National Park edition of this very camper van. If you are to use the yellow one, just use one spacer, because the two spacers that comes with it is just makes for it's too much of a harsh ride. Now in the back right here, everything was completely flawless. I did experience when I originally bought the unit here that this was crushed. That was replaced under warranty, not by Winnebago, but by the Dodge dealer who actually warranted the chassis itself, like the actual truck. Everything else has been pretty good. You do have your water inlet right here for seawater. So the way this unit works, a lot of people complains that there's no water inlet on the outside, but turns out that this is by design and not necessarily a cost-cutting measure. What they are trying to do right here is to build a unit that can basically survive better in 4 seasons by having all the water outlet and inlet on the inside right here. So this is your outside shower. It actually works pretty well. There is, however, one complaint I can do about this, and this is mainly a functional issues. When you are to fill your tank right here, okay, so the best way to use this unit, you basically fill your tank, empty it, fill it, empty it, like not necessarily having this thing connected all the time. But what this causes is that when you are filling this, as soon as you pull this off, there's always going to be water falling right here. So in such a situation, I would recommend to everybody who uses that or fills their tank, just put a rag or a plastic things right here. I actually just put a regular rags to catch a couple of drips of water that goes there, so that this way I do not put water on my little wood thing right here. And as things have shown, this could start to peel, and I'll show you where later on. So the garage space right here, I would say that I do have a special options in this, which is this sofa bed right here. Okay, as I've showed last time, difference between the sofa bed and the regular Murphy bed version of this camper van basically comes down to the following. First of all, you've got two extra 3-point seat belts, which is actually pretty nice, and we've actually used this a couple of times. However, because when the sofa bed is actually down, this is where the bed stops as opposed to right here. So you do lose an extra 6-inch, which is available of Murphy bed of bed space. So if you're on the taller side, I would recommend you do not go with the sofa bed, but more with the Murphy bed. The other thing you're going to notice also, the Murphy bed has cabinets and everything right here. This one obviously does not. Now we have yet to figure out the best way of arranging all of that right here. But the thing that I can tell you is that in this configuration, we did put a couple of ratchet straps right there. Reason being that otherwise things would just go basically forward when you would brake. So that's some things that that's mainly just a trial thing that we did right there. We may put a guard grenade or something later on, but other than that, I mean, this area right here, would be your main storage area. So we've also found out that if you look right here, I do have a portable power station right secured right there, and this portable power station has actually helped me get 110 when we are off grid, and that's a great spot for it. It doesn't use much space compared to the amount of power it has, and basically quadruple whatever amount of power we have on board. So the only downside that I've seen with this whole setup is that right here is your electrical panel. We did have to change a couple of fuses, which I will get into. But other than that, I mean, this thing has been pretty reliable. And we did not need it to access it that much. But still, if we are to put a cargo net, it may prove to be difficult to access. So that's why we haven't done that yet. So other than that, you can see right now my garage seems to be quite a mess, but there's actually some little organization that was put in there, mainly for those plastic containers here with electricity and water, and what else I have in there, some level blocks, which is pretty nice, because this unit do tend to face down a bit forward by design. Okay, the other thing that we have right here, I do have one of those tarps that I haven't opened it yet, but it's basically to protect the cargo area. I already had another one underneath, a couple of camping chairs, and charcoal regular charcoal barbecue. Nothing fancy, but something nice when we stop somewhere. Also, one thing that I really like about this version of the Solis is those little table here. They have proven to be excessively useful in many situations where I was working on something and needed to put this put a tool somewhere. So instead of putting everything on the bumper right here, I've actually used those tables. Now you won't get those tables in the Murphy bed configuration because what these tables are normally used for is for this sections of the bed when you convert a sofa bed into the bed. And also on those doors, I would like also to point out another thing. If you look right here, you've got a pole. If you look online, you're going to see that Winnebago market this as an annex. So basically, it's just a pole that goes from there to here that you can pretty much put together. This has been a source of frustration at some points up until we did this. So what was happening is that when we were closing the door, these things would pop out. So I actually saw something completely unrelated where they've actually just used regular garbage bag twist ties. We just put this there, and you know what? It's been fixed and fine ever since. No more complaint about it. One thing I found out though is that those little nuts right here, I had to tighten them twice because they were sort of coming loose. And this is basically just an L-track adapter here. So if you don't want these things, you can take them off altogether. Now the thing here is that on some campgrounds, which we did about 50% campground, 50% boondocking, those poles right here can be used as clothesline, and some campgrounds do not allow clothesline because for safety reason, that kind of stuff. But since this is an integral part of the RV, it didn't seem to be a problem with them. So it's all good. So we were able to dry towels, dry wetsuit, dry regular stuff with this that we didn't necessarily want it to put in a dryer and at a laundromat. Now those little magnets here have proven to be extremely useful. We have used the shower curtain more than less, but not in the shower curtain configuration. We have used it once as an awning where we would have put that pole right here and put the awning on top. But beside that one time, we've used those magnets actually in the front cab, which I can probably show you why later. So beside this, I mean, that garage space, pretty good. I wish it was a slightly taller. Now that sofa bed here just stops short here, so not exactly up to here. So, I mean, I wish it would be a tad different, but overall, pretty good. Okay. So another thing that was replaced here, I've actually complained about the screen on the sliding door. If you look at my previous video, for some reason, the dealer, when I complained it to them, they replaced the back screen for no apparent reason, and it was working very badly. As in, when you were trying to zip it up, it seems like it wasn't long enough. Well, that was an easy fix that I figured by myself. If you find this happens to you, if the dealer installed this on the wrong side, instead of having the screen starting here, you're going to have the screen starting right here, which is about, I would say, maybe an inch or 2 centimeters a bit deeper, which makes this screen not a perfect fit. Otherwise, I can say that the new screen, once installed properly, was pretty good. And we also noticed that it does have some magnets which will stick to this here when installed properly. So if you have problems zipping it up, or if it doesn't fit pretty well, maybe it's just installed the wrong way. We just removed the Velcro, turn it 180, and then reinstalled it, and there you go. So now, no more problem with that. Okay. So on this side, beside this, I wanted to say that we started to have some rust issues. I would say very light surface rust issues to begin with. If you look under my coach right here, you will see it is completely sprayed with black protective coating. Now, for people who are from southern states, they may not be very familiar with this, but here, if you don't protect your cars after a couple of years, I mean, we're talking about something like 5 years, some serious rust is going to start to appear in your car's undercoating. Not undercoating, but undercarriage. So the idea that there was here is that we have had the whole coach completely protected like that. And, you know, for people who wonder, Winnebago doesn't state this as an issue. They completely understand why we are doing that. So the thing that I would like to point out, though, is that if you look at my battery right here, I started to have very, very degraded performance from that battery, which is not something I was expecting in less than a year. So it turns out that the dealer originally did an undercoating in here. And unfortunately for me, that undercoating was badly made. So what happened within this year, I had to go to a specialized place and have the whole undercoating removed and the whole coach underside repainted and the whole undercoating reapplied with a very dry surface. However, they have taped off the batteries themselves. And if you look, there's a lot of overspray. That's not by the specialist place. That was made by the dealer. And the dealer itself, well, let's just say that I will bring my own conclusion later in this video concerning what happened. So what happened is that they did not do anything to those batteries. And turns out that there was some overspraying made there, and there was corrosion being made on all the connections. So at the factory, at the Winnebago factory, where they have their service center, they've actually lifted this coach in the air, got rid of all the coating, cleaned all the connections, and just added a bunch of dielectric grease and reconnected everything together, replacing a couple of connections here and there that were corroded because of the captured moisture. So all in all, now my coach batteries perform much better. I'm able to be completely self-sufficient constantly with this. So I do not even need to hook this van up ever. Now, one of the things I was complaining about in my previous video was concerning the window themselves. I just want to point out that you see how clean they are right now? That's not the way that it came from the dealership. I've actually complained about leaky windows, about that kind of stuff. So the only thing that the dealer made on this is that they have had a lot of very messy over caulking put on the windows, and it really kind of looked pretty bad. And I was joking with one guy saying that this looks like it was built by your weird uncle Eddie, if you've seen the one of the movies about Christmas. Sorry, don't know the exact name in English, so if you know which title of movie I'm talking about, just put it in the comment there. And the worst window what was that one here, where they've actually found moisture. So what they had to do, and well, the moisture was found following the dealer modification, where they just sprayed a whole bunch of clear caulking all over it. So at the factory, what they had to do, they had to take it all apart. They had to remove the window, let the whole wall dry, clean up everything, reassemble the whole thing, and do it with a little tape. And very, very nice job from the Winnebago Service Center. So that's pretty much it for the outside. I mean, I still dig that little step here that they've installed. This was paid out of pocket, and I will say that every single penny that I've spent on that, I'm completely digging this. I really wish that it came with all the Solises, but turns out that it came with a Travato, and this is built on the same chassis as a Travato. So good thing that they could install it directly. Now, let's go on the inside, okay? So being a 2024 version, this unit does not have air conditioning. And I gotta say that in the first video I made, I was saying that it was kind of a good thing because it was one thing less to worry about. I kind of still stand a bit by that statement, but I have to say that when I purchased this unit, there was a promotion going on, which included an air conditioner and 2 electric bikes. Unfortunately, because of administrative reasons, and by the time the dealer did the paperwork, the promotion was gone, so I never got the portable air conditioner that should have come with this unit by the manufacturer. So, I mean, they were very kind when I was at the service center, saying that they were going to look into it. If I ever get them, well, I'll let you know in a future update about this unit. But so far, I mean, after 1 year, no air conditioner, I gotta say that one night would have been nice. Other than that, I really prefer to have the fan right here. Although to have that portable AC would have given us the flexibility of that single night where it was actually 32 Celsius. Don't ask me how many in Fahrenheit. I'll try to maybe put it somewhere on screen at this time to know what it would be. Some of the modifications that were made in here. Well, one of the things I complained about was the cabinets. Turns out that out of the 5 cabinets here, 3 were warped. This one, this one slightly, and that one, for some reason, when I brought it in for service the first time, complaining about the warped cabinet, the dealer damaged this one. So back at the factory service center, what they've done is that they started to replace a couple of ones. And because the new color does not match the old color that these things were, I mean, I don't think you can really see this on cameras, but this has some sort of a metallic finish, and the other one had more of a glossy finish. So what they've done, they've replaced all 5. So now I have matching cabinets, and I gotta say, it actually brings a bit more light because this is more reflective than the glossy one for some reason. Now, one of the things that Winnebago has changed since my model year to today, instead of having magnets right here, okay, on top, they are actually now using struts. Well, turns out that, while I was at the factory service center, I purchased those struts and made the modification myself. So now I have those struts installed. Now, this is exactly within Winnebago specs. I actually went on a 2026 model that Lichten RV, which is just a couple of blocks down the road from the service center of Winnebago, and they very, very nicely told me that I can take whatever measure I want. So I've actually installed these using the Winnebago specs, and these things, just to give you an idea, they're not that pricey. I mean, they're not cheap, but the whole thing costed me a couple of $100 to swap. And I gotta say that although the cabinets don't go as far up as they used to, because there used to be a magnet here, since they replaced that cupboard right there, I've asked them not to install the little magnetic catcher here. And, all in all, I'm very pleased with this because, well, the cabinet just feels a bit sturdier. Now, one of the things that you're going to notice, I have kept all those magnets right here. And the reason why I did was that I don't want to create a hole there. So maybe if I find like a white screw or something, I may swap it. But one of those, that one right here, will stay in place. Why? Because I have kept the magnetic catch. And the reason being that, well, if you look right here, you're actually losing a bit of space with those struts. And in that particular cabinet, whatever you see right here, in the 2026 models, that goes to about here. So you're actually losing some shelf space, and this thing is actually installed a couple of inches more inwards. So what I've decided to do is, that one I will leave it as is. And all the other one I have replaced. Now, I just want to say, if you want to do this modification on that particular cupboard right here, this one is a bit more of a challenge, because if you look at over there, okay, you have the roof access ports and a whole bunch of hookups. Now, I did put the one right here, actually adjusted it so it has more resistance with a screwdriver right here. And the thing is that normally the way it's supposed to be, the other one is now attached right here. However, when you close it, it actually blocks off this. So if you look on the 2026 models, this outlet's going to be right here, and those outlets are actually right here, so they don't catch. Now, is this necessarily mandatory? You see, I have one right now, and you know, it's pretty good. I just adjusted it a bit more tight, and you know, all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how this has turned out. And the cabin is actually closing very firmly and very well. Now, if I look at this one here, for some reason, they've also put one on each sides, okay, of this. The thing right there is that I didn't see it as being mandatory, and because I didn't want to, you know, lose extra cargo space, I decided that I was going to stop with just one on those two cupboards, on the two rear cupboards. Reason being that I'm trying to, you know, there's not that much storage here, so we're trying to save as much storage as we want. I'm going to try it like this for 1 year. Because guess what? Next year I'll have to go back to the factory service center, and I'll explain you why in a couple of minutes. So right here, I had an issue with this. This window was leaking. Now, the service tech at the dealer didn't do much concerning this window except putting a whole bunch of blobs around it. And unfortunately, that didn't help it a lot, because not only was it still leaking, but it was, you know, the whole moisture was staying under that caulking. And I mean, it didn't do any damage, but I can see this as causing a bit of a damage later down. So I was complaining about these Velcros not being installed properly and actually causing a bit of a scratches on this because of this zipper right here. So what they've done at Winnebago, as not to, you know, destroy all the integrity of this, they've actually put a spacer here. So because they've put a spacer, now the zipper doesn't rub on the frame anymore. And I mean, I think this is completely acceptable as a fix. I mean, it's not OEM per se, but if it prevents the damage from, like the zipper from scratching the frame of the window, that's, you know, it does the job. So beside this, what else was done on the coach? Well, quite a bit still. We actually found out within the year that this toilet right here, well, this toilet wasn't sending water in it anymore starting at some point. So we thought it was completely defective. Turns out what they found is that for some reason something was blocking the line, so they've actually unblocked it, and by unblocking it, now it works perfectly. So they have changed the switch just to make sure, and the toilet now works normally. Did not experience any issue with that toilet after that. So one of the things that we had to do while it wasn't working properly, water wouldn't get into it, we've actually used the shower to fill it up and then flushed it like that. Now, I've noted during my last video that I had quite a bit of problem with the popped up tarp having some pinholes everywhere, and some of the mosquito screen actually being torn open in a few places. So this popped up right here actually caused quite a bit of grief for me. It turns out that on top of having some pinholes in it, so they were going to change the canvas for it. However, we actually found out that there were some cracks on this frame right here. And Winnebago inspected it a bit further when it was at the factory, and they've actually found cracks on the roof on it. So I was saying I had to come back next year for a replacement on something, and this is what they're going to replace. They're going to replace the whole pop top, but you got to understand that this is a pretty extensive modification. And if I look outside, the whole thing is about this length of the coach. And there's quite a bit involved. If you've seen any of the factory videos on how they make these, I mean, this is a very work-intensive job that they have to do. They have to replace lighting, they have electricity to do, they have, you know, a bunch of things. So it's a pretty long appointment, estimated to about 2 weeks. But I mean, for people who don't know, for me, back and forward to the Winnebago factory is about a 4,700 kilometers drive. And that's kind of something I don't do in a weekend. So that's hence why we had to come back next year. Now, the coach is technically out of warranty in 2026, but they are still going to cover it under warranty because it was reported before the warranty expired. I just want to say that the chassis itself been very, very reliable. It's it's a very nice chassis. Seriously, now that they've changed the whole previous chassis versions that were very bare. This particular year model, 2023 chassis and more, are much more modern, much more convenient, and dare I say, much more comfortable to drive. So, if your opinion about the ProMaster chassis is concerning the prior years, I would say give it a second shot, because I think that this is on par with a Transit and on a Mercedes even nowadays. So for the chassis itself, I did had a couple of issues. Those issues were pretty minor. Dealership, like the Ram dealership, took care of all of them, including a mirror that I had that was pretty loose over there. That seat belt that for some reason was installed backward, and that is pretty much it. Now it's due for another oil change, which I try to do slightly better than the manufacturer recommends, just to try to give my unit a bit more chance to live longer. Now this thing here, that is a seat, and if you guys remember correctly, I did experience a problem with the seat. Now they have completely replaced that seat at the factory, although the dealer tried to tell me that the seat was working as designed. Turns out it was not only faulty, but they had a couple of faulty ones, and this is a complete new unit. Now, we did notice that they've actually changed this from the 2024 year model to the current year models. What has changed? This is a lot cushier than it used to be. So if you have tried a Solis and thought that this was extremely harsh, extremely stiff, this version actually seems to be a bit more soft. Another thing that we've noticed is that they've changed the way that these things are attached. So now these things rotate much more easily and are actually much easier to use. Now I do find that those seat belts are a bit tight. So when you're sitting in here with one of those seat belts, I mean, you're pretty well seated in. One other thing that was fixed also, sorry, I'm going back and forward here, but it's just that I noticed that I forgot about one thing. I did have an issue concerning wallpaper, especially in this area right here. The wallpaper was coming undone, and it seems like this could be a problematic area. Now, they actually did fix it, as you can see right now. It's pretty good, but I mean, this is something you might expect. Again, this is a very potentially humid area, so why they've put a wallpaper instead of just vinyl, I don't know. Okay, so concerning all those trims, there was a couple of trim issues. This is an example right here. So I spoke to the tech, and concerning those trim issues, this is what they are using to fix them: Loctite 401s. So I got a little box of it. I will go through pretty much everywhere where I have some trim issues, and the only thing that the tech told me about this is that, you know, wear gloves, because if you stick your fingers, you're probably gonna get rid of some skin if you have to unstick them. That's a lot of information that I threw at you. I mean, other than that, this unit has been pretty good. There was a couple of times where I gotta say that I was pissed off by small things that gets broken, but I gotta say that even though I had an issue with almost every single thing here except the water pump, okay, most of these issues had an easy workaround around it. This is a very simple unit, so if something doesn't work, there's a workaround, okay? I gave you an example with the toilet over there, but all in all, I'm very satisfied with this unit. Now let me just go in a bit of a rant. Most of these things that you've seen, like the warp cabinets, the seat that had a problem, and you know, when I went to the dealer, I had 17 items I wanted them to fix. My understanding is that no matter which dealer you deal with, don't rely on their service department. Unfortunately, I have found that they've kept my unit for 6 months in service, and basically out of 17 items, I can relate you 3 that got fixed. However, when I contact Winnebago, and I want to apologize to the people at Winnebago if at some time I was a bit harsh with them, these guys care. These guys cares about your unit, and every single day at the factory service center, they have really did stuff above and beyond to make sure I was satisfied with my unit. Now I want to give a shout out to Colton from Winnebago. He told me, and I didn't believe him at first, that he was going to make sure that we get an exceptional experience and that we were going to like um, our unit afterwards. Since we went there, this unit has proven to be 100% reliable. Every single thing was fixed except the pop top there, but that's because it's just, it's going to take a while to be made, and at some point, I work full time, so vacation runs out. I truly want to say thank you to Colton at Winnebago, to Tracy, a customer service at Winnebago also. And I also want to thank our technician, which was an exceptional guy. Really sat down, took the time to listen to all our worries. And again, very knowledgeable guy, was on the factory floor before, and he was also building some RVs before for Winnebago. And so, Mr. Gray, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You've completely changed the way that we saw this unit, starting from the thing that's a liability that we're never going to get to enjoy no matter how we try to get service on it, to, you know what, this is a unit that we enjoy being in and that we are proud owners of. So thank you, all of you guys. I sure hope that somebody higher up sees this and give you a pat on the back, because I mean, you really went above and beyond everything, and all the worries and worries that the dealer gave me, you basically told me, you know what, we're taking care of it right now, don't worry about it. So my conclusion regarding dealers is, doesn't matter which dealer you buy from. I bought from a Flying W dealer that was supposed to have exceptional service and that kind of stuff. The only thing that they did when they kept my unit for 6 months was to put a whole bunch of caulking everywhere and actually damage my unit some more. The manufacturer is really the one who stands behind their product. So thank you for standing behind your product. And also, can go as far as to say that, yeah, now I'm actually proud of owning this. It feels great. And here I am in a random residential street. I think it looks stunning, and I had a great time going to the Winnebago Service Center. And to all people who are still listening to me rambling, I would like to thank you to watch this video. I hope this has brought some very informative information to you, and hopefully I'll see you next time. And yeah, Winnebago, that running board over there, just put it on all the Solis. Really improve the experience. This was Leeway Model, out.